YouTube, what's going on? Just preaching. So trucking on a budget, right? So I had a couple people ask me about, how I was able to pay off my truck so soon. Well, it's because of my budget that I use. So when I'm on budget and I'm budgeting myself, I'm able to save the money and put the money back towards my business. With me being a chef and running restaurants for years, I'm used to following budgets. And I had all different types of budgets that I had to find. I had to find labor performers, I had to use declining budgets, I had a regular food cost budget that I had to do. So I'm used to following budgets and following budget weekly. And doing a declining budget, that's almost every day you budgeting and making sure that you stand on budget with everything that you are doing. So I'm used to doing the budgets. And with a declining budget, you already know basically what you are doing, right? So you following the money as it come in, so you know what you have to do. You know if you're tracking right, and you know if you're tracking wrong. So that's one of the things about having a declining budget. Always knowing where you sitting, right? Last month, because of breakdowns, I only did a little bit over $22,000 for the month of August. This month, because of breakdowns, I'm tracking about $20,000 this month for the month of September. So that's like, why? Well, if I'm doing $25,000, $26,000, now I just spent $47,000. You do the math. I'm down to 20, right? If I just spent $4,700 of the money that's coming in for the month that I'm tracking, that money is gone. At that time, I had to pay, so I'm down $4,700. But as the month progressed, that money comes back. When it progressed, the more loads I'm doing on a regular and hitting my $1,000 a day that I'm trying to do, right? So I'm tracking right now a little bit over $20,000. Now I can't, in the foreseeable future, I don't see I'm going to be over 20, maybe 21 that I might be able to do. I have all my loads booked for the rest of this week, right? So with all the loads that I have booked for the rest of this week, because of all the days I was broke down, I'm only I'm going to be on Monday morning after I drop this load off of the weekend, I'm only going to be at almost $15,000, right? It's going to be over 14, like 14.7 that I'll be at going into the last week, which is next week. But I have to be home on Friday because my wife is having a procedure, so I'm going to have to be home, so I'm not going to have a whole week. So whatever money that I make between Monday to when I deliver the load on Thursday, it's going to be it, right? Now, do I think I can do 5,300 between then? Yes, I can. Because what happens is my Friday load is what gets me up to between $65,000, $68,000, $7,000 for the week. It's that Friday load that goes over the weekend. So I won't have that Friday load because I got to take my wife for her medical procedure and stuff. Now, she's going to be all right after it, and I still can get a load on Saturday, but it's not going to be the big money load. It probably only be about $900, $950, between $900 and $1,000 that I get. So it'll put me a little bit above $20,000 for the month of September. But that's how I do it. When you got to truck on a budget, I'm trucking on a budget. I'm on salary, which I said before. So all my personal stuff, that's get taken out of my salary. I pay payroll taxes, and I pay myself $1,800 a week. Is what I pay myself. So all the other money that I make goes to my business. It goes to my business checking account, and it goes to my maintenance account as well. So what I was doing was all the money that I was making, the majority of it, I kept putting towards my truck, to pay off my truck. Just putting towards my truck, just to pay off my truck. Quickly as possible. I'm going to pay off my truck. My contract starts in October. October the 1st, my contract starts, right? And it's from October to May. The contract that I have. It's a direct shipper, and I get paid at the time of delivery. It's COD. $2,000 a load. Get paid right at that particular time. So I wanted to make sure my truck was 100% ready to go. That's why if you watch my previous videos, I already was going to put it in the shop September the 9th was scheduled to go in the shop, but it broke down before then. They was going to do a whole full diagnostic check on it, make sure everything is pumping right, all things like that. Well, when I was on the side of the road, I had to pay for the diagnostic check. He did all that particular stuff. So instead of doing all that, so I just took my truck to a TA, and they did my PM service on my truck. But he went through the whole truck, checked everything out. When I did the service, they went through, greased everything, aired everything up. I had them checked for any leaks, anything like that. So they did all that particular stuff. So that's ready to go. You know, so I'm ready to go for when my season starts. The only issue I have is my trailer, the rental trailer that I have. That's my only issue I got now. So that's why I'm going to be trying to save up for a trailer. But because I had all these maintenance, I had over $7,000 in less than a month that I spent in maintenance and repairs. So, but that money was going to be going towards a trailer. But now that that money is gone, I still got money saved up, and I'm still building up money back inside my maintenance account, so I'm not worried about that. But I don't have the extra money no more that I was going to put towards getting another trailer, right? So this old rental that I got, I kind of ain't got to deal with until I build up more money to get me a trailer, which I'm thinking a month. So 1 month from now, today is the 18th, 17th, 18th, 18th, something like that. It's one of those days, the 18th or the 19th. But 1 month from now, I should have a trailer. I got 2 different options where I can get me a trailer from. And I can go the cheaper route in getting it, or I can go the more expensive route in getting it. At one place, I have to put down $4,500, and it's $800 a month. And another place, I put down $2,000, and then it's $900 a month. So it all depends on what I want to do. Do I want to put down the $4,500, or do I want to put down the $2,000? The only thing I liked about the $2,000, like I said before, is a lease purchase trailer from Super Eagle. And I have Super Eagle all over the trailer. Now they did say, and they'll put inside the contract, that upon me paying it off, they would take all the logos off the trailer, so I wouldn't have to pay for that. But in the meantime, I will. So I don't know. It all depends on what's going on, how the finances look. Do I want to do the 45? Because, you know, still got to put insurance on the trailer. Still got to get a license plate for the trailer. And I still want to make sure it's not going to eat up any of my maintenance money at that particular time, too. Things like that. So, but that's how I do it. I budget out everything. And I do the numbers, I run the numbers, and I try to make sure I run stuff that makes sense. Like, it has to make sense. So when you truck it on a budget, especially with your new authority, you got to remember, you don't have a carrier that you can call and they can borrow the money and you can make payments back off your settlements. No, you are the company. You don't got nobody you can call. You got to pay for all this yourself. There's nobody I can call and be like, hey, yeah, my truck broke down and I'm gonna need $5,000 to fix it. I was wondering if I can borrow the $5,000 and just make payments on it until you know. It's no that I'm the company, right? So you have to be disciplined on what you want. I could have took that money and started buying stuff that I wanted for the house, or go ahead and get the slingshot that I want and all that other particular stuff. But my first year, my plan was to put all my money back into my business. My salary is based off of what I need for my house and what I need to be able to save per month in my savings account. So that's what the $1,800 covers. All my house bills and everything like that, me going out. It covers all that, and being able to still save at least $1,200 a month in my personal savings. That's what the $1,800 does for me in my business, right? So, and like I say, I show y'all the proof. I show y'all the receipts. I'm just not saying this stuff. I'm actually showing y'all the receipts. You got too many people out here. They ready to tell you what you should do, but they're not giving you any examples or showing you what they telling you to do that they are doing. They say that they making this and they say that they're doing this, but they're not showing you what they actually are doing. So, like I said, I listen to everybody. I'm always willing to listen to everybody, right? And I take a little bit from everybody, and I'll see that if I can apply it to what I'm trying to do. Now, if everything works and what they say works, then I'll formulate something along with what I do. So that way, I can do this because, yeah, I got a whole three-wheel alignment and everything. And my truck still runs straight because of the alignment and everything that I got on my truck. Y'all don't hear nothing, right? See? So, but I'm not that crazy. I need to keep my hands on the wheel. I know that. I do understand that. Sometimes when I talk with my hands, they're like, hey, you need to get your hands on the wheels. Hey, man, I make sure I take care of my truck. And that's the other thing. If something broke on my truck, I fix it. I don't wait. I go ahead and fix it. Because I don't have to be broke down on the side of the road. When I was broke down on the side of the mountain, I had to walk a mile just to get a cell phone signal. Then I got bugs, wasps, bees, all that kind of stuff flying around me and stuff. Listen, it's not fun being broke down on the side of the road. So you got to make sure you budget right, because you don't know when a breakdown like that will happen. And then you got to have the money for it as well, for the breakdown to fix. So if you're getting out here with your own authority, make sure you get out here with some money. Make sure you get out here with some money. I never really understood when people got their own authority and then within the first year, they didn't shut their authority down, like they didn't make it. And I'm like, well, how you ain't make it? I just didn't understand that. Like, how you didn't make it? Well, ain't no money out here. How I'm making money, but you're not making no money? I don't understand that. 3 brokers: Uber Freight, TQL, CH Swaps. Started off with. How can I make money out here and you ain't making money? And I'm from Florida, so my insurance $2,086. That's how much my insurance is every single month. You mean to tell me to pay all your bills and get these permits and do your tax filings every 3 months, you ain't making enough money for that, and to pay yourself some money? People with paid off trucks out here, and then they still can't do it. I'm like, something else is more to the story. So when people is telling you and complaining about certain stuff, sometimes you got to look past all that, because something else is going on. Are they bad with money? Are they spending the money that they got and they are making, and they're in hopes to return the next week or next day or so and make that money? Some people is bad with managing money. Now they want to act like that, trucking is just so bad. I talked to a guy at my pickup today, and he was saying how bad it was, right? And he's doing a load, and he's complaining that after the company he signed on with, after they take out their 20% and he pay the tolls, it's gonna leave him with $1,300, and that's it. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you finna do this load, and your tolls, by the time you take your 20% off, you're gonna end up with $1,300. So I asked, well, where did you deliver? Oh, I delivered it tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'm like, okay. He said, yeah, by the time I pay fuel, by the time I do this, it's just gonna leave me with $1,300. I'm like, so how much are you averaging per day on your loads? He averaging about $850 profit per day on loads. So I'm like, you mean to try to tell me you're profiting after all your expenses at least $4,000 a week, and that's not enough? Man, all the bills I got, and this, and then, my truck payment, I pay like $1,000 a week for the truck payment. Okay, so that's $3,000 out there, $4,000. Okay, so $3,000 a week. You average it, man. I just got the bills, I got this, I got that, I got this. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just listening to him and asking him questions, right? No, I didn't lay into him, but I'm just thinking in my mind, if you're averaging, after everything's said and done for your truck and everything, you're bringing home in your pocket $3,000 a week. That you is averaging $3,000 a week. That's $12,000 a month. You mean to tell me all your bills and your expenses in your house is over $12,000? Like $12,000 is not enough for you. I say this all the time. Sometimes it's a you problem and not a business problem or another person problem. Sometimes it's you. How many people out here is spending over $12,000 a month in their personal life? Maybe you need to change your personal life and your personal spending if you can't live off of $12,000 a month. That is ridiculous. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, that is really ridiculous. $12,000 a month. Come on, man. He ain't talking about how much his business made, and I wanted to go in with him about that. I said, so how much money are you putting in your business, or are you keeping all your money for yourself? I make more than that, right? I do average more than that, right? But out of the 13,000 that I'm making, my personal life is only using about $7,200 out of that 13. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes I go between 13,000 to about 15,000, depending on the week, how long I stay out, or stuff like that. So all that money goes to my business and my maintenance account, the rest of the money, because this is all I need for me to live comfortable. I'm not trying to splurge. I'm not bougie. I'm not trying to do all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I budget myself. So all that extra money that I don't need, it goes to my business. You look up my business and my business taxes, you're going to see how much money that my business been making. In October the 20th, it's going to be 5 years. Okay? I got all these tax returns that shows my business makes money. And I pay taxes on the money that my business have made. So my business actually makes money. If you got a business and your business don't make money, no, you got to hide it. That's not a business. You're taking all the money for your business for yourself. And that's what you should not be doing. Your business should make money. Now, this year is going to be different because my business have to pay me back. Right? The down payment and everything for my truck and stuff. my business got to pay me back because I had put some money out of my personal to help get this here truck. So my business had to pay me back. But that's a tax deduction. So I'm going to have a lot more tax deductions. I'm going to have a lot more stuff for the truck, depreciation value and stuff for the truck, all these purchases and everything that I did made. I'm going to have a lot more tax deductions. So my tax liability for my business is going to be very, very low. Now, my business may not profit nothing this year because I'm going to put all my money in my business, and I'm going to make sure that everything that I put in my business don't profit nothing for the year. I'm going to get a trailer, but I'm going to try to pay the trailer off before the end of the year. So you're talking about in 2.5 months, I'm going to try to pay that the trailer off. So all my money, besides what I'm putting in maintenance, is going to go into trying to pay off the trailer and have the trailer paid off by the end of the year. So my business liability would be zero. I have to pay in taxes because all my money, my business is not going to profit no money, and all of them went to purchasing things. So my tax liability, I won't have any tax liability. The amount of money that I'm going to make personally for my personal income tax, I'm going to have a lot of deductions on that because a lot of the money that I'm getting, even though I'm on salary for it, the other money that I take out as ownership contributions, that is paying me back the money that I let my business borrow. So I'm not doing any interest, so I don't have to worry about paying taxes on that as well. But when I'm budgeting all this stuff, that's everything that I think about, how I'm going to do things. It's about a whole bunch of numbers, and being disciplined with their numbers. And don't looking at the amount of money that you're bringing in and deciding to jump ship and start buying some things or doing some things. Or you know what, I'm just going to take this weekend off. I'm not going to work. I got plenty of money. No. I work just like a company driver. When I did my rate per mile, and how much I'm getting paid, it puts me at between 62 cents per mile to 64 cents a mile that I'm getting paid as a worker for my company. That's how it was for the amount of miles and stuff that I'm doing versus how much I get paid. It came out to 62 cents to 64 cents a mile that I get paid as a company driver for my company, even though it's my own company. That's what I mean by when you do a budget, you got to budget all your numbers. All your numbers you have to budget. So now when I do hire a driver for this truck right here, I know how much I can pay the driver and still be profitable after I pay the driver. When I did a driver for this truck. After I didn't been with this truck for a year, in May I'm going to hire a driver for this truck. And then my other truck, my day cab, I'm going to be driving the day cab, and then I'm going to get a driver for the day cab. But the first year, I'm doing this truck so I can get my numbers, I can get all my bearings, I can get everything right. So I know how to budget correctly and know how much money I have to spend to do things with. So it's all about a budget. You can't start a business and then don't think about the business side of it. Having your own authority is good, but you still got to run a business. So you got to think about the business side. This is the easy side. Going to pick up the load, delivering the load, getting the load there safe, going through the weigh stations and stuff. No, this is the easiest part of the business side of trucking. But when you got to do all the paperwork, all the bookkeeping, all the quarterly reports, the biannual reports, then you got the yearly reports, then you got all kinds of stuff that you got to do, that you got to pay. You got the business side of everything. So you got to keep up with the business side of everything. And all that costs money as well. All the bookkeeping sides of it. Every month I get a printout from my factory company. All the loads that I have, what's the outstanding money that they still owe me, because I only get paid 90% of my load that they factor up front. Once the load has been paid and settled, I get the other 7% because they take out 3% So it leaves me with 7% that I get after that, right? After the brokers and everything that paid out the loads and stuff. So I got to keep track with that. All the loads that I'm out there, I have to keep track with how many loads that are out there, how many days has it been before they pay. Just in case I got to contact the brokers, be like, hey, I had load so and so, and I'm wondering when that's going to get paid. But my wife does all the bookkeeping parts of that, and she keeps up with all that, all the reporting, the IFTA reports, my KYU reports. I just got to notice that my MCS reports are going to open up in October, where I can do another MCS and everything like that. So I got all this stuff that you have to worry about doing on the business side of everything, and that costs money too. So you got to budget for all that particular stuff. So before you get inside and say, hey, okay, I'm thinking about getting my authority, also think about the business side and the paperwork side of everything and all the inspections and everything you have to go to. Like I said, I'm almost 5 months in. I done had 2 level 1 inspections. One thing I did needed one because my auditor put in a flag me to get an inspection for a level 1 inspection before my audit date. So I had got that, passed that, no problem. Then I just got another level 1 inspection on Monday. Another level 1 inspection that I got. And then it was on the side of the road, it wasn't at the weigh station. So then the guy was like, he's out of the stickers. He would have gave me a sticker, but he's out of the stickers to put on the window. I'm like, okay, you don't got another partner that you can call that could bring you some? That's how I was. You don't got another bring you some? I said, because I just had a level 1 inspection 2 months ago. He said, yeah, I saw that, but I just was pulling over trucks. You just happened to be the one I just had pulled over. I'm like, well, okay, but when I go to the weigh stations and they run my MC, they're gonna see I didn't have 2 level 1 inspections in a 5-month period of time. So they probably just gonna be letting me go because, okay, what, you gonna inspect me, level 1 inspect me every 2 months? I don't mind, because I was watching Just Trucking video, and he's begging for an inspection. He's begging for one. Going through every single weigh station, asking the DOT officer, please inspect me. Because what y'all don't understand is some of these brokers is looking at that when they are on Safer, when they bring up your information. But it's been a while since you done had an inspection. We can't use you till the next time you get an inspection. So he's begging for one. I'm like, man, I didn't have 2. Like, they been popping me like popcorn, man. I'm like, what's going on? Y'all keep popping me like popcorns and stuff. I mean, I passed them all. There was no violations, but that looks good on my company. I have 0 violations with 2 level 1 inspections with 0 violations on it. So that does look good and everything like that for my company. So that's the other thing you got to understand. You talking about getting a new authority, you're going to have to understand all about your CSA scores and your violations and inspections, and you got to be on top of that, because that can hurt your business when you're trying to go with brokers. So you got to understand the business side of everything too. So when I'm talking about budgets, that's part of the business side. You have to worry all this stuff. You have to worry about the business side when you're talking about trucking. You have to budget for all that. You can get fined on some of these violations, so you got to have money for those violation fines. Don't forget about that. So you got to budget for all these particular stuff. It's a lot. It's more than just getting your authority and trying to book loads, because you're going to be seeing all these brokers that's paying a lot better than C.H. Robinson, TQL, and Uber Freight. But that's the only thing you can book with. The cheap ones, that's the only thing you can book with. Yeah, you're going to want those $2, 32, 240, 250 loads, 212, 220s. And now you're going to be talking with TQL, and they talking about $1.88. You talking to C.H. Robinson, they talking about $1.92, $1.94. but they know you can't go nowhere else. What you gonna do? You just gonna sit? You just ain't gonna run? Or if not $2 a mile, then I'm just not gonna do it. Okay, don't do it. You still got to pay for that insurance. So do you got more money coming in to cover the cost of your insurance that you still got to pay, whether you run or not? And if you don't own your equipment, you still got to pay for your equipment too, whether you run or not. So you gonna just sit around and just wait, or can you budget everything? And because you didn't budget everything, you already got that into your budget. Listen, I know for the first 4 months, it's actually 6 months really, but I don't have to worry about it because I'm going to be at 6 months. October 2nd, I'll be at 6 months, but I have my contract, right? But even though I can sign up with a whole lot of brokers, I don't have to use them because I'm on my contract. I'm still going to be signing up with them. So after my contract is over with and I have to go back on the spot market again, I'm already set up and I'm already ready to go with them. So I'm still going to sign them up. But you're not going to get all these other brokers that can pay you a lot more money till you at 6 months. So you got to budget yourself for, okay, I'm not going to get the best rate per mile. So let me budget my bills. Let me budget to know that, okay, I'm probably going to be right at $2 a mile. Now me, I'm always, by the end of the week, I'm always at between $2.04 and $2.12 a mile by the end of the week. What happens when I get out of Florida, for instance, I have a load taking me from Orlando to Tennessee on Monday. That load paying me $1 a mile coming out of Florida. And you be like, well, I'm just a deadhead. Yeah, you always say you're just a deadhead, but when you just a deadhead, you still gonna have to pay for the fuel. You like, well, I just go ahead and just eat that cost. What business takes a loss? You openly just finna take a loss and you just rather deadhead about Florida because that money is still coming out your pocket. Right? It's still coming out your pocket. So even though it's paying me $1 a mile, that's gonna cover my fuel and some. Because to go that distance, I'm only gonna use about $230 in fuel for that $700. The $700, I'm gonna use $200 in fuel. So that means after 3%, that means I have about $400 inside my pocket. And that goes towards bills for the week. And it's just a one-day load. Now, it's going to put me in an area, though, where my next load I can get coming out of Tennessee pay me like $234 a mile. And then the next load I get somewhere, it's going to pay me over $2 a mile. But coming out of Florida, I have to expect only get paid $1 to $1.20 something a mile. Sometimes I can get paid like $1.46, but then sometimes you got to be like, is it really worth it? Because they only gonna give you $1,300 for 2 days, which is crazy. I'd rather take $700 one day and then the next day get a load for $1,400 that delivered the next day. Now I'm at my $1,000 a day average that I need. So going inside of Wednesday, I'm averaging $1,000 a day. Now I get another load on Wednesday, that's gonna pay me another $1,100, $1,200. So by Friday, I'm at a load. Now I'm just trying to find a load, a good paying load, and normally they're gonna pay between $2 and $2.20 something a mile. So by the end of the week, I am at what I need to be at. You know, I am exactly where I need to be.